Hi, welcome to another video for ESPE 6143 Sport Communication. In this video, we will be talking about your assignments. I will describe each one of your assignments, but for now, suffice it to say that you're going to have discussions, mini documentaries, reflections, social media projects, synthesis, course evaluations, and self-evaluations. Now, something very important for all the written assignments that are paper type in the entire course of the Sport Administration program, we adhere to the APA format. So unless we tell you otherwise, assume that we are going to be looking for APA formatting. And if you're not familiar with APA, there is a manual that you have to follow, or you can go to Purdue OWL, which is a website. And normally there's going to be information about a writing style on the left-hand side menu on Blackboard. But unless it's specified that we're going to deviate from that, always assume that we're going APA style. It is going to be highly unlikely that our class discussions look like this because of social distancing protocols, but we will have class discussions. And these will be in class most likely unless we switch to an online format, in which case they will be online. And they're going to be about the assigned articles or their corresponding assignments, in which you will tell us what you put in your assignment and why. And your interactions to the discussion, this is the important part, right? What you say in the discussion, it has to add to the discussion. It cannot merely be, I agree or I disagree. You gotta give us the meat and potatoes. Tell us why. And then your attendance is going to be recorded based on the meaningfulness of your contribution. So if you sit there and you're quiet and you don't participate, it's like you didn't show up to class. So please come ready. Please have your discussion materials ready and come to class prepared, having read the articles and having at least reread your assignment. And then you have a couple of group projects, and these are mini documentaries. And the first one I will assign you. And then the second one, you get to choose what organization you do the mini documentary on, so you get a little bit more invested. Now, the process is the same. You have to contact somebody from that organization, get their permission, and then you do a mini documentary draft, and you get feedback, and then you make it better, and then you turn it in for a grade. And the people that are going to evaluate it are going to be the person from that organization or a key person from that organization, your peers in the whole class, and myself. The mini documentaries are going to be turned in on Yuya, and they're also going to be presented in class. After everything is said and done, and both mini documentaries are turned in, and you have gotten feedback from all parties involved, then you have to write an individual 1 to 2 page reflection paper on what you personally learned from making the documentary, from like the process of making the documentary, editing, getting feedback from all parties, what you learn about the organization itself, what you learn about sport communication, what you learn about getting feedback and integrating feedback into a project, and then what you learn about sport communication after you've gotten the feedback and you've integrated it and how it relates to the class. And for this particular assignment, APA is required, and please include a copy of the feedback from the sport organization once you get it. You're also going to have a social media project, actually 2 social media projects, a personal one and an entity one. If you don't want to use your personal social media for the personal account project, I totally understand. Create a new one. Just make sure that you have enough followers by the time the assignment rolls around that you can actually have some analytics to run with it. So for the personal account project, you are going to work on groups of 3. And step number 1 is to reflect on a week of social media analytics for your personal accounts. So note who you are, how many followers you have, the content and timing of your posts, what generates more interactions, etc. Like check out all the general information. So basically look at your trends. Step number 2, in groups of 3, like I said before, study the social media accounts for 3 professional athletes. So each one of you is looking at a different athlete. Pay attention to who they are, what they play, how many followers they have, the content and timing of their posts, what gets more interactions, and other relevant information. So in other words, you are identifying their social media trends for each of the athletes' platforms. And notice I'm saying platforms. We're going to be working with Twitter and Instagram both. Step number 3, each one of you. So not one person in the group, but each one of you individually is going to replicate an athlete's social media trend on their personal social media account for at least 2 days. So for 2 days, you are going to replicate what LeBron James does on his Twitter and Instagram account, or what Megan Rapinoe does on her social Instagram or Twitter accounts. And then step number 4, reflect on the differences in follower engagement on your personal accounts before and during the assignment. And prepare a Pechakucha presentation. If you don't know what a Pechakucha presentation is, go to pechakucha.com. I think you're going to love it. And this presentation should be done by the 3 of you. It needs to be cohesive and flow effortlessly and not look like you all didn't get together until it was time to record the presentation, okay? We are going to submit it on Juja, and it's also going to be presented in class. And then for the entity project, you are going to have a different group of 3. So all members must be different from the previous project's members. And then you're going to pick a local organization, and here is the key, that will let you manage their social media account for 3 days. So you need to have a close enough relationship with them that they will give you access to their Twitter and their Instagram. And this can be anything, like an A-state athletic team, a high-pace major, a club, a local gym, etc. The key is that they are a sport organization, and then number 2, that they let you manage their social media. And then step 2, study their use of social media on an average week. So not a championship week, not a slow season week, just an average week. And you know the drill, who they are, what they play, how many followers they have, the content and timing of their posts, what gets most interaction, and other relevant information. Then step number 3, observe an average week of an organization with a very active social media presence. And this can be any organization, national or international. The key is that they're very active. Think Manchester United, the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys, etc. Step number 4, here is where you're going to need to access the local organization's social media. You're going to develop and implement a 3-day strategic plan. And so you have to have goals, and then you have to have a plan to reach those goals, and they're short-term goals. So only 2 days, right? And then step number 4, after you develop the plan and follow the plan, you're going to make a Pechakucha presentation on what you learned after you studied the brand's social media, after you crafted the short strategic plan, and after you executed it. And you can include lessons on corporate social responsibility, branding, marketing, ethics, communications, etc. Now, this is first come, first served, and no repeat organizations, so decide quickly and get your teams quickly. And then please provide written documentation that they will let you use their social media account as quickly as possible, and just an email exchange will suffice. There is no need for official documentation at this point. That is it for assignments, including all the technology in the world for the sports communication class. You're also going to have some regular assignments like synthesis. And, a synthesis in its more basic form is a combination of ideas. So in this case, you're going to be combining the ideas in the assigned sources with your own experience and with other peer-reviewed sources. So step 1, read the assigned articles. Step 2, summarize the articles. Step 3, give examples of how the articles are useful or how it relates to other articles. And then step 4, submit them on Blackboard as a PDF. And I'm asking you to submit them as a PDF because Blackboard is infamous for messing up your sources and messing up your references and making you lose points on APA style because your references are not listed correctly. So if you submit it as a PDF, then there is no way that's going to change. So At the very least, you must cite 2 of the articles that are assigned for that module, but all other facts you include in your paper must be properly cited and referenced. And if you have any other classes, you can include annotations or articles from other classes, and it must be formatted in APA. Okay, so you already know you're doing Patakucha presentations on this class, but there's also another 2 types of presentations. You're going to be presenting an article, and that's an individual presentation, and then you're also going to be doing a synthesis presentation, and that one is going to be totally random. So when we have synthesis, I'm just going to call on somebody and be like, all right, so tell me, what's on your synthesis paper? And you wrote it, so you know what's in it. And this one is totally informal, and you don't have to have a PowerPoint or anything, but you do have to know what is on your synthesis. So if you wrote it the night before, you're gonna struggle a little bit to remember what's on there. So this is to incentivize you so that you pay attention to what you're writing, you reflect on what you're writing, you really are intentional at what you're putting on that page. And then the article presentations are regular. You've done it 1,000 times with me. You prepare your PowerPoints, you read the article, and you come and tell the class what's on the article. It's kind of like a lecture. So those should be pretty straightforward. And then finally, I'm going to ask you for 2 separate evaluations. So those emails that you get that are super annoying at the end of the semester that are like, please evaluate this course and your instructor. How did they do? Well, I want you to rank me, yes, on a 1 to 5 scale, from very poor to excellent or whatever. But I also want you to go leave comments in there and say, this really worked for me. This really didn't work. I really think the class will improve this way. Because this is my meat and potatoes. I really want to make every single one of my classes more kick butt every semester. And that's what really helps me do that. And if you don't tell me, then I don't know. But also, I'm going to ask you to do a self-evaluation. And that is, I'm going to ask you to reflect on how much work you put into every assignment, how much work you put into every presentation, how much work you put into the synthesis, how much work you put into the videos, the pachakuchas, the mini documentaries. Basically, every single assignment, how interested were you in teaching or in learning what I'm actually trying to teach you? And the point of that is trying to awake you to your patterns and your styles so that you can carry that with you way past the point of the class and way past the point on when you receive a grade and then move on. Hopefully by now you know how to find me. If you don't, all of my contact information is on the syllabus as well as on claudiaviams.com. There you can also find links to my social media or helpful articles or also tips and tricks on college at Arkansas State University or choosing your major or just college in general. I also have a few life tips in there like managing money and stuff like that I think are helpful for college students. So go check it out. And before you leave, let me remind you, I adore you. You are the reason I do what I do. I am here for you. Please stay healthy. Please stay safe. Don't text and drive. And I will see you on the next class.